Oka Nikolov, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Obviously we worked together at LAFC for, this will be our second season together, so I've always wanted to have you on. And obviously I know you as a coach, but you had a big career prior to that. How has that transition been from, it's been a while since you've transitioned, but how has that transition from the playing side of things to the coaching side?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I was waiting a whole year to get here. Yeah, when you start playing, it's never easy because you try to find your place. You don't know really what you like, what you want to do. And actually, I didn't want to coach. And like in my player career, I was always thinking, no, coaching is not for me. But I end up coaching and per accident because a youth coach in Frankfurt had to move, so I had to step in. I didn't want to do it. I was just looking to do it for 1 month, start loving it, and still doing it.
Well, before, obviously you had, and in the intro, I'll explain it to everybody, but you had a great career in Germany with Eintracht Frankfurt, over 400 appearances. Obviously, you guys were going back and forth between Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2, but now, obviously, the transition to coaching, and you were at Philadelphia Union, which makes the story even crazier. Philadelphia Union, and then going to LAFC, and now in your first season, you win it all against the team that was your former employer. So what was that, I guess, last season like for you coming into LAFC?
It was actually, I was before with DC United. Let's say we didn't have a good year in DC, and Steve Gerundo got the job, and he was looking for staff members and was looking for a goalkeeper coach, and I called him, and I'm happy to end up here. And I must say from day one, LAFC's was super welcoming. The people are super welcoming and helped me a lot to, be like immediately in the group.
Yeah, what were you thinking about when you first got into the group? Obviously, Max was a pretty big signing for the club.
Mm-hmm.
You spent a decent amount of money on him, and so for you coming into a situation with a brand new club, high expectations with a young, I would say relatively young goalkeeper in goalkeeping terms, but in age, maybe he was like 28, 29, so not that young. But for you coming in with him, what were the initial conversations?
Actually, the first talks were pretty good, and Max is a super confident guy, and the beginning pretty easy with him because he likes to work. He's listening. He wants to learn. So as a coach, it's super easy to work with him. It was like all goalies, they made me super easy, and we had a great group last year and have a great group again this year. And it's super fun to work with those guys.
How did you feel at the end of the season where obviously John had to step in for Max? Max gets injured in I think the 118th minute, and we all know what happens after that. John saves PKs, does a great job. John makes, I think, one appearance in the season against Colorado, does save a PK. It gets called back because he stepped over his line. But he does have a really good game. I think maybe you guys had lost that game 1-0, but he still had a good game. So for you, I don't know what was that dynamic like with John? Was it always just like, hey, stay ready just in case? Or I know John is programmed a specific way, but do you have any maybe advice for coaches out there who are, have that number 2 that's hungry to play, but the number 1 is being consistent? And what are some conversations to keep them, I guess, hungry to keep playing?
Yeah. I know John since day one. I'm in MLS since 2016. So that was easy for me because I know him over years and I know what he's able to do. I know he's, even as a number 2, every training, 100%. He works hard. He's waiting always for his chances, and he's kind of made for those situations. He's like always ready. And I know what's he able to do, and that's why last year I want to bring him badly to LFC because we changed the goalie positions a lot, and we were looking for number 2, and he was actually not on the list, and I said like that's impossible. We need this guy, and thank God we got him.
Yeah, the entire club is happy with that.
Yeah.
Maybe
sorry for interrupting, but maybe we talked like about the PKs, right? So we all do the stats and we are all prepared, and we have all the numbers, and we have like the papers on the bench. So I just asked him, do you need that? And he said no. So he knows what to do. So I said great. And he did. It's about goalkeeping. There's a lot of stats, and but on the end, the human decide. And he did his own thing, and he did great.
Yeah, we have different types of characters in goalkeeping. We have the guys who are just athletic, but then on the emotional side, maybe they don't have it under control. We have goalkeepers who emotionally have it under control, but maybe the play doesn't follow. Then you have, as best as you can as coaches, try to find the goalkeepers that have those two married together. So for you, obviously playing 400 plus games at the top flights in Germany, what kind of a goalkeeper were you, and what were your memories of that?
I wasn't super athletic, that's for sure not. I was more like reading the game well, be on the right spots. It's actually tough to judge myself. I was like pretty consistent, maybe not many mistakes, big mistakes, or we do all mistakes, but not big mistakes. I think I gave the team always a good feeling there is somebody who can help us.
Yeah. So your youth career, if I'm looking at it right, you started in Sandbach. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you were there for, almost a decade, and then you moved when you were 15 to SV Darmstadt,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there you made your move to Frankfurt at 17.
Mm-hmm.
I know Frankfurt is a top club over there, and I'm sure that is the pinnacle for a lot of players. So when you were at Darmstadt, when you got the call to make the move to Frankfurt, I think it was still the youth team there, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was that a huge move, or just like for you the next step in your career?
Yeah, it was. It was a huge move. Darmstadt is also already like in the biggest youth league, so it was already. I played in a good. They played Bundesliga too. So, but it was a smaller club. It's still a smaller club, but when Frankfurt called, there was difference with all those. Frankfurt is like historic and like since day one in the Bundesliga, and yeah, it's a big name in Germany. So when they called, it was like, all right, it's something. But actually, I had also like offered to go to Cologne, so it's also a bigger club. And as a kid, I shouldn't say that here, but I was a Cologne fan, so I was struggling to make the decisions, but I want to stay with mama and dad, and so I stayed in Frankfurt.
So they influenced the decision.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, for you, was that kind of like you recognized, oh, okay, people are taking me seriously as a goalkeeper, and then like I have more aspirations now, or since you were a kid, you always said, I want to be a professional goalkeeper?
No, actually, I like to play on the pitch more than be a goalkeeper. But again, it was like on accident I end up in goal because our goalie had left town. They moved, and the coach said like, "All right, everybody goes in training, goes once in goal." So as a kid, it's fun to dive, to jump around, and so that's how I ended up in goal. But I was fine with it because I played Saturday and Sunday, Saturday in goal and Sunday on the pitch. So it was fine. So I was fine with that until people recognized, oh, there is something. So then I stayed in goal.
And then you make it the move from the youth team of Frankfurt to I think it was the second team, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
What was that move like? Because now you're in a top club, correct? And now you're going from the youth team. A lot of players go into the youth system and don't really make it out because their talent's never realized. But for you, making that next step, again, for you, for your family, for your friends, was that a moment of pride, of joy, or just another step?
I mean, I grew up in the burbs, so in the suburbs, and people talk, and it was like, oh, you know what I mean? And I felt as a 17-year-old like as a big star. But then after that, the second team is, they recognize you, but not that much. So you're young and you're talent, and there's so many talents out there. But for me, it was a big step because like from youth to go to men's football it's a big step, and it took me a while to adjust, and they didn't let me play from the beginning. So it was also like in my head, what's going on? So it's like you're not used to that. You played the whole youth career, and now it's even not much talking going on why you don't play. It's just how it is. So you have to work and try to get in goal. It was a big step for me, like as a person, as a man, to grow up and to work hard.
So no one was really coming to you and saying, okay, we signed you because we see you as the first team goalkeeper. It's more of like, we see you, there's talent, but you need to kind of continue to navigate this in the way that you feel fit.
Exactly. That was like, oh yeah, we like you, we want to have you in the second team, you're talented, and that's it.
Wow.
There's not much. I see future. I see you in 2 years there, and we want to pull you up in the first team. There was not much. It's like, yep, you're talented, and we want to keep you and see where it goes.
Do you feel like that helped you grow in a sense of like, I need to create the tools to figure this out on my own? And then now as a coach, there may be some young goalkeepers who may feel as though, again, their place is not yet defined. Do you communicate that, or is, again, because no one over communicated to you, you almost see that as an opportunity for you to pass that lesson on?
I think it made me humble, because as a teenager and then in youth you play the highest level in Germany, and friends look up to you because it's a big deal, and but then you come and in a second team with a lot of men, and you are you start again. So it made me humble to, all right, you have something here that's great, and don't give it away, and work hard. That's what they want. They want that you work hard, and I missed it a little bit in the youth now. It's like they are not humble or grateful what they have, or what people like put on work, like also in the youth, and they think everything comes without work and not showing up or whatever. Yeah, I try to make that clear to especially younger goalies.
Yeah, that's smart. I think that's where the professional career and you sitting with those emotions, I mean, at a young age, reconciling with those emotions, I think that is what I think former professionals can offer to the goalkeepers as well. But you do make a move to the first team. I think it was in 1993. So you're just, I think, maybe turning 20, or you're still 19 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you play maybe the first year, but you are in the first team fold at that time.
Mm-hmm. Uli Stein was the goalkeeper when I came to the second team. Uli Stein was the first team goalkeeper. It's a big name in Germany, national team. Played I don't know how many games for Hamburg and Frankfurt, and was one of the best goalkeepers in Germany. So he was the starter at this point, but something happened. So he got fired. He got like kicked out of the team, and then the second goalie got in goal. So that took me up as a second goalie. I was his backup just for the rest of the season. But he left the second goalie, and then they took Andy Köpke, is also a bigger name, and to Frankfurt, and made me as his backup, as sign my first professional contract as a backup, and I didn't play the first year at all. I mean, I was just happy to be there. It was a great team. I mean, there was like JJ Okocha in the team. It was like Anthony Yeboah, Uwe Bein, like a lot of big Andy Möller. There was so many big names there. I was just happy to be around those guys, and yeah, it was great. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, that's where I think in you finally make your appearance the following year. So the 95-96 season. Do you remember? Does the date, even if I say the date of when you made your first, do you know what it is?
I don't know the dates, but I know the games.
Okay.
I know that I exactly know when I hear that I have to play, because there was like a reserve league.
Mm-hmm.
So we were traveling, playing, I don't know where, but we just finished, and I just went in the bus. And I don't know, did we have phones already there? I am not sure, but somebody came to me, or somebody called me. I don't know, but I got told, all right, Andy Köpke had pulled his calf, so he will be at least 2 to 3 weeks out. So, and that means that didn't say you will play, but in my head was like boom, and my heart rate gets immediately up, and yeah, that's what I hear that I had to play.
Yeah, September 9th, 1995, against FC Kaiserslautern. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's my best German.
That's
accent,
good. It's pretty good.
You guys win 3-1 at
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the time you guys were still in the Bundesliga. I think that year you may have dealt with relegation, but in that game, what do you remember about that day, that moment?
So not much. It's actually crazy, because we go always one day before the games, home or away. We stayed in a hotel, and I don't remember if I slept or not slept, was nervous, not nervous. I don't remember that. I remember waiting outside before you go on the field, like with the team. I remember that. I remember I was super nervous. I remember this part, and it took forever to get out there. But in the game, there's not much memory from the game. It's maybe because you're focused, nervous. I don't know what it was, but it's just little flashes, but not much memories.
I'm sure for you, like you said, you're so distracted with the nerves that you don't really have an opportunity to even recognize all the fans. I think there was like 25,000 at the game that day, and your family's probably out there, your friends. Were you ever kind of just like, all right, like I've finally made it, or were you saying, wow, I got a little taste of it now, I want more?
Because my situation was pretty clear. We had the German national goalie, so in our team, so it's not all right. You're not playing. That's clear. So I was more like I was still pretty young, and I was not there like physically learning. So I was just happy to learn and be there. But after this year, I would say, or after 6 months, I said like I want to have that. I have more. I want to play on some point. And realized how like with football, what's your hobby, what's your love is, and you can make money with it. And then so like, all right, I have to hold this.
Yeah. So you value it even more.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, after that season, and I call Andreas. You said Andy, but Andreas Gopka, he moves to Marseille, and so now obviously they may have seen a little bit of you in those four. You played the Bundesliga game, and then against Kaiserslautern, and then you had maybe like DFB Pokal, like a few games after that.
After that, I played Leverkusen a week because it took 2 weeks to Andy to get fit again. So I played 2 games in a row, and then he got injured or red card again during the season. I remember it was cold, rainy. It was in Gladbach. He got a red card or got injured, and I had to step in again. So maybe that's all the games I did.
Yeah, but now you're 22. He leaves. When you got word of him leaving, because I'm sure the outlets over there, they picked that stuff up quick that he's going to move. Was there a conversation from the coaching staff to you, hey, okay, it's your time? Or were you kind of in your own head like, oh, if he leaves, it's my time?
No, I mean, to be honest, we got relegated this year.
Yeah.
So he played national team, so it was clear he's leaving, and Frankfurt had a lot of money problems. So that was like a big part that I became a starter because there was no money there. They were looking for every position because Frankfurt, they didn't want to stay in the second Bundesliga, so they want to get up immediately, and they didn't trust me. We had actually the second backup was also a young goalkeeper, so they didn't trust us at all, or the team in general, So it was a tough process, but they had also like they couldn't sign many players, so that was like my luck. So they made me as the starter. I had a decent year in the second Bundesliga, but we didn't get promoted. The following year was like really clear, right? That's Alka our number one.
How did you figure out, I guess, your identity now as the number one? Maybe you recognize that the team wasn't trusting you, but it's an opportunity, like you said, you start to value it as you progress in your career. So what was that like?
It was hard because like you're happy, but then you feel all the pressure because the expectation was like end up in the second Bundesliga first. That's the expectation when you come from the first Bundesliga, and we didn't do well. And on the beginning, I didn't well either. So it was a lot going on, pressure, and you get all the media, read all the newspapers, and it's not helpful. It took me a while to adjust, to find my confidence, or we as a team to find like our identity, because it was like a lot of players didn't want to stay. They were first league players, so they just were looking to leave. They were really into this, like, oh, let's get promoted. So there was a transition year, kind of. Players left in the half season, like in winter. So end of the season, we find our identity, and we end up 6th or 7th. What was not bad, but also not good. But then we built like a team, or we had a roster. What we said, like, all right, we can. The following season, we can do that.
Was there clear indication that you were going to be the starter coming into that preseason, or were you in the number 2? I guess you guys were very young, but were you guys competing for that role?
We were competing, okay. Yeah.
What do you remember about that competition that maybe put you ahead of him?
I just remember when we got told, oh, you compete. For me, I was like, what? Like, we compete? I thought that's like my spot. Like, again, not humble enough. Too much in your head. And but it was good that they made it open, because it made me work harder.
And so obviously you have that season where you're in Bundesliga 2. You said you guys found your identity towards the end of the season. Coming into next season, was that a situation where you guys said we're getting promoted? Because I mean, you guys did.
We were not full of confidence, to be honest, but we knew we have a good group, and this group is like stick together. We knew that. The first couple games was crucial, and we played well. We didn't concede a lot of goals because we didn't play much forward. But after 5, 6, 7 games, we thought, all right, that could be our year. So we were confident, and we knew if we do this and stick together, we have a good chance to get promoted.
How many games did you guys have before you realized you were promoted? Did it come
I
down
think
to
way before.
Okay.
Like 4 games before the season end, like the first 3, they got promoted. I think at least the last 4 games we played the last 4 games, we knew we got promoted.
How was that promotion celebration?
It was great because the fans in Frankfurt are crazy, and they're craving first Bundesliga soccer, football. And it was amazing, and it was a relief, and to give the people back what they want. And it's tough to put it in words because when you get relegated, the whole city is hurt, and where you go, you get all those questions, and football is there the whole day and 24/7, and it was kind of a relief, and something good to give the people something back.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, now you guys get promoted, and now you had a little bit of a taste of Bundesliga football, your first 2 games, obviously, but now you are the guy. And like you said, with the second team, maybe you're walking around the city, no one really knows who you are. And now I'm sure after that promotion, and now you said giving the fans an opportunity to celebrate and to kind of boast themselves a little bit. Now were you a star coming into that first Bundesliga season?
I wouldn't say a star, but we as a team knew like what's going on. So stay in the league, like just don't be the last 3 spots in the table. So that was just our goal, and we knew that. The coach also was clear, just go over the line. But after a couple games in again, I think we had a decent season.
You did.
Yeah. And then we felt, it's not that hard actually, right? It's kind of the second Bundesliga, but then I felt like, just like in my personal memories, I felt like, all right, I can compete with the other goalies. They're not way better than I am, so felt more and more confident.
Yeah, I think your identity now starts to shape a little bit when you have that on your resume, and I think that's where everyone can look at you and say you have the potential to get to that level, but then once you see it in yourself, you're a whole different beast. So it sounds like that was like a change for you a little bit.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's first the playing, what I did, I was like, everything felt natural. You just do, and everything, you made the right decisions, and you feel like, all right, I belong here. And what made it easier for me is, like, I remember my first game against Bayern Munich in Frankfurt. So you stay again outside, wait to get on the pitch. Oliver Kahn is next to you. You're pretty nervous, right? But then you look at him. He was nervous. He was like, couldn't stay still, and was like, wow, all right, if he's nervous, that's kind of a normal thing. So that helped me to realize, all right, they are just human beings too. So, and it was helpful to see like the superstars, how they react to stuff, and it was helpful for myself.
And you do, you guys stay in the Bundesliga for 3 seasons, but in that third year, it's 2001 season. You only played 4 games in that year. Was that a situation where somebody came in and they replaced you? Were you dealing with an injury? What kind of happened there?
Do you know who was the coach?
Oh, yes, Felix
Magath?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was he was something as a coach. I remember when he came in winter, like after the first half of the season, and we didn't do well at all. We were last or second last place in the table, and the head coach got fired, and we had a couple days off, so I went for vacation, and then I got the call, he's the coach. I don't know if people know him. He's a super hard. It was like not fun. You hear just all those stories. He trains super hard, and all right, then when I heard that, I went for a run to get fit. But then actually a day later, he called me. Yeah, he called me and he wants to see me in his office. So I said, like, I'm on vacation. I will be back, blah, blah, blah. So I went back and went in his office, and I never will forget this conversation. I was too young. I was not prepared, not confident enough. But he basically told me, all right, you're the reason why we are there. Or the people say you are the reason. So what should we do? He asked me as a coach. Said I was not prepared. Not again. I was like not a young man, and he said like, oh, I don't know. You're the coach. So I said like, all right, and we get a new goalkeeper. And he asked me, should I do that? He asked me if he should sign the new goalkeeper. And again, I should say like super confident. No, I'm here, or bring one for the bench or whatever. But I said like again, I don't know. You're the coach. So and he brought a good goalkeeper in, and that was like the first time I got benched. So and actually, and we stayed in the league, but it was, yeah, he was 1 year there, and it was like not a fun time.
I mean, you had a good string of years where you are the number one, and again, that identity starts to form. You have confidence in yourself, and then a situation like this, where again, a lot of times we can kind of push the results on the goalkeeper, on the players, but sometimes the infrastructure just may not be as good as the ambitions are of the club. So again, maybe you guys get into that position where you need to be rotated out. What was that for you? Did you ever have a moment where you said, "Damn, like I'm gonna quit," or
leave? Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all have an ego, right? Maybe too much sometimes, and you blame always other people. But yeah, on the beginning, I was upset and couldn't understand, and I was actually the one who played all right, and the other guys stink. So you look back and go through the games and say, yeah, all right, maybe. So it's not that good, and here a mistake, there a mistake. But it was hard for me. It was hard for me after all these years playing and then be benched. And I was just shocked on the beginning, but then you accept it and start working. But I remember Dirk Heinen was his name. He played really well. He played really well. So it's like can't get back. And that was like the start when I learned also to accept good performances. So if somebody, then I accepted, all right, he's doing well and he deserves it. So I never said it loud, but in my head, and that made me just, all right, work harder, wait of your chance. Some point he will struggle too. It was again a good learning moment to grow as a person and see that you always have to work and be humble and also respect the other people.
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of times those experiences really teach you a lot of those, I guess, skills that you have to have and things you need to understand in terms of your personality and characteristic traits, that the world isn't so perfect all the time. And then when those moments do come where it rains a little bit, you kind of have to be able to, like you said, change your perspective. And it seemed that though, like recognizing, oh, if I look back at some of the games that I played, there's a little bit of there's just to it. Like the coach is probably right about this.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And not immediately, but 6 months later, I looked back and watched the games. And actually, not the beginning of the season, but end of the season, I had games where messed it up. Like I lose the game. So there is no, you can't talk around it. So, but you don't feel it that way when you play. So it was a good learning moment for me.
Yeah, and you end up getting the position back, or how long until you got the position back?
It took a while.
Yeah,
it took a while because he was a really good goalkeeper. But I think after a year, because we got relegated, and then he started in the second Bundesliga too. But he struggled in the second Bundesliga, and on some point they put me back in goal.
But back to that point again. By the way, I listened to like Ben Foster, right? You've heard of him? Yeah. So he has a podcast and he's talking to Tim Howard about when they brought Van der Sar in to replace him at Man United, and he's just discussing essentially that like everybody will look at you and say, or like they kind of expect you to support the number two or the number one, yeah, as the number two. And he was like, yeah, of course I supported him, but I was hoping I was gonna make a mistake. And with that mentality, like you said, you're appreciating the way they're performing, but also too of like, I'm okay if you make a mistake here too.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that, but yeah, 100%. Again, ego. It's all about ego, and yeah, you're a team player for sure, but you come first. So if I didn't play, I felt something less. I don't know, something was missing. I felt less as a person. I felt less in my community. I felt less in my family. So it's actually stupid, but I guess that's how we work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't support him. I didn't. I didn't wish him bad, or but I didn't support him. I did my job.
Yeah.
And with some goalies, I talked. With some goalies, we didn't even talk. It was a different time. It was just, there's not much supporting. Oh, when he had a great save, I'm not clapping my hands.
Yeah.
So it was just different. It was, there was no support from my side.
Well, you do, again, from there, you end up getting your spot back. You play, I think, one season, 19 games. The next season, again, you're back to full capacity, being the number one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Markus Proll, do you remember that name?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in from FC Cologne, I think, in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So again, at this point, you've reestablished yourself, and maybe in the community and to yourself, your personal life,
Mm-hmm.
things are starting to make sense again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think at that situation, you guys do get relegated again. And they go now to Markus, and he becomes the starting goalkeeper. Were you at all, again, thinking about leaving
Mm-hmm.
Frankfurt at the time and saying, you know what, but I need to stay because I need to stay loyal, or is it all
Mm-hmm.
just I need to take care of myself?
No, I think there was the point when I said, like, all right, I'm over this. It's like I get always blamed, or I don't get the appreciation I supposed to get. So I had always the feeling they tried to replace me. They always brought somebody in. So I was, in my head, was like, I'm done with this. And I think in this or the following year, I tried to leave and had an offer to Tenerife, because it was a German coach and he knew me and he was looking for someone. And I was going for it without thinking, actually. Just I was hurt. Like, why me again? Like, it was like the ego came back. And actually, Frankfurt didn't let me go. And thank God they didn't. Again, not reflecting, not thinking, not appreciate what you have, not be grateful. What actually also Frankfurt give to you. You give back, but also Frankfurt gives something to you, right? The people. And I just want to leave there because I was hurt, like, without thinking. And actually my people said, it's better for you. It's like, great, stay here. And then thinking about it, I agreed. And I said, all right, let's stay here.
Yeah. How does that affect your personal life off the field? I'm sure when you're having to go through all these situations, like, were you someone that needed to be around your close people, or do you say, you know what, I need to deal with this on my own?
It depends. Like, after bad games, I was on my own. Didn't talk much. It's actually bad. Even like with my family or my marriage. I mean, I talked, yes, no, but I wasn't like communicating really after messed up games. It took me 1-2 days to get back halfway, to get back to be normal. But like when I was benched, I was like, on the beginning it was hard, but then I was like, accepted the role. I always worked hard, and that's, I guess, that would help me, also the people, to recognize, all right, we can rely on him anytime. So when we need him, he's there. And I also just realized on some point, or accepted, I wasn't a flashy goalie. I did my job. I was consistent, but I wasn't like the super show, like had the super saves. So, and I guess that's why a lot of people always tried to replace me and always brought other goalkeepers. But yeah, on the end, I played always. So, and it was like, on some point I accepted and got used to it, got more confident, say, all right, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what this guy can. So let's compete. So, and it was like, actually made me what I'm now. And I don't mind it. And I had a great career, and I'm actually thankful for the bad and the good times.
I mean, you make a good point there. I think some identity crisis starts to creep in a little bit, because you've built your career off of, again, being consistent, maybe not being flashy, but that's who you are, and it's worked. And then as soon as that kind of wrinkle in time comes in, and you start realizing, oh man, is it not working? What am I doing wrong? A lot of people, and I'll use myself as an example, there are moments where you kind of go like, okay, well, if this person, for me as a coach now, it's like, if this goalkeeper likes this style of coaching, should I completely disrupt my flow and then try to accommodate them in the way they see things? Or do I want to stay true to who I am and then find a way to mesh with them? And I think as a player as well, like you're saying, okay, well, obviously you guys are bringing in new goalkeepers who maybe have a little bit more flair. Is that what you want from me? Okay, let me see how I can do it. So was there ever a moment where you're like, I need to abandon?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. On the beginning, for sure. But again, on some point, I accepted that, and I accepted that's who I am, and I'm fine with it. And actually, the player liked that, and I felt confident. The player felt confident when I played. So, and on some point, no, that's me. That's how I am, and you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
So you let me play or you don't.
Well, in that situation, they didn't let you play that much. You had I think one appearance that year, and I'm sure again, it's just like your body maybe was happy, like, hey, let's take a little bit of a break here. It's good psychologically as well. Let's take a little bit of a break from the nerves. But again, that's what I think made you a club legend at Frankfurt, and maybe the fact that you stayed and you said, you know what, I'm just going to fight for my opportunity again. You get the opportunity again, and I think before they had the European success recently, but a big one for you guys back then was the DFB Pokal run, where you guys made it all the way to the final that season. Again, you got your spot back all the way to the final, and you guys lost to Bayern Munich. What was, again, you reestablishing yourself now with all this, I guess, wisdom of, I need to appreciate this, but also too, what was that run like?
It was great, and I remember I was even the captain this year. If we had won, I would.
Lift the trophy.
Yeah, so it was a good year, and we had again not the best team, but we survived, and they put me more in charge. I mean, if you get the captains, if you're the captain, so you feel that you have more responsibilities, you have to do more and have keep the team together. And it was fun. It was we had good people. I remember that, good players, like good personalities, and we stick together. And always when I had this feeling in those years, I knew it couldn't go wrong. And even like the cup final, we were the better team against Bayern Munich, but lose 1-0. And I even remember after the cup final, little party. You lost, but still your family, everybody's there. I remember a conversation with the coach and what he told me, what his plan is with me, and what happens the following year. It's so crazy. It's just our business is crazy, and but it was a great experience because to play the cup final in Germany is a big deal, and you go it's always in Berlin, and you go 2 days before the game. There is so much media, and it was a good experience.
What was the conversation with the coach, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a little bit, you're my captain, you're the guy, and then he benched me the first game next season. I don't know why. I don't know what came in his head. He never explained it. I went to his office. He never explained it. I was the captain. I don't know. Maybe I did something. He never told me. I have no clue.
It seems like that club, every time they give you a little bit of success, they pulled the rug.
Yeah, they always gave me a punch in the face. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that was again. I was like after then when I got older, and then I played again. But Kevin Trapp came, so I realized pretty quick. All right, this dude is just better. He's so good, and I was older. I was 37, 38, something like that, and. I mean, I saw it. He's just better and you have to play. So and he was a good guy too. That makes it harder. But like those years and even the years before I played, then you start to, all right, that's what you do. Like you start to see the fans. You start to see to get more what you do. Like you're not that, I mean, I was focused on the game, but like you see what's going on around. And that's where you realize, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Like the people going nuts 90 minutes. Like when you're younger and play, you don't see that much. You hear loud, it's loud or not loud, but like then you see all those little things, and it's great. Even like they benched me so many times. It's like I had a great career. It's a great club. I had great people around me, and yeah, again, it made me what I'm here today, and it helped me a lot to find also my way to coach or go through all those experience, helped me to talk to the goalies. So I know what they go through. I'm so grateful for that, what I experienced, and it helped me in life.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, after that DFB Pokal, the run, you guys had to the final. You guys were in the top flight for, I think, 5 or 6 more years. So again, you played a considerable amount in those times, and then Kevin Trapp does come in, and then from again the articles that I read, there was a situation where they were a little bit older, right? So like at that point, you're a club legend already. You've kind of already passed that threshold. And Kevin Trapp gets injured, and people were like, "Man, we're in really good position." I think that season you guys finished in 6th, opportunity to go to Europe, and I think the fans at the time were like, "I think maybe this guy's glory days are a little bit behind him. We don't really trust him." And then you end up having, I mean, towards the end of the season, you had some of your best football probably of your career. Take me through, maybe was that kind of like the end of the road? You realized, okay, before I go to the U.S. or try to go to the U.S. to play, I need to appreciate this.
Actually, at this point, I didn't think I would go because I was in negotiation to stay one more year. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that because I was like at a football show when Kevin Trapp was with the national team, and they did some promotion shooting, a commercial, whatever, with Mercedes, and he slipped and fall down and broke his hand. And after the show, they told me he broke his hand. So I played cool, but I didn't play the whole season. So I was older. Yeah, it's like, ooh, I got a little bit like, all right. Again, like you get like, you was good with your position, but then I got nervous. And yeah, I remember my first game back, and I remember we won, thank God. But I felt like, wow, that's too fast for me. Like I really felt it was too fast. It was like didn't play the whole season. That was my first game. End of the season was the last 6 games or 8 games. I don't know. And this game felt not right. I was not in good positions. Came not always, but often too late. Couldn't find my rhythm at all. Thank God we won. But I got like tricky goals, but it wasn't my mistakes. But still, I didn't feel good about it. And I was like sitting after the game and was thinking, wow, that's maybe that's what it is. It's like it's over. It's not for you. Maybe you're too old, but you can't just quit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was another week. So worked, training, knew what I need, and then we played in Augsburg, I guess, but we lost this one. But I played well, so I played all right. That's felt good rhythm, had good saves. And then after this game, I had a good run. I played all those games really good. And yeah, and had also some lucky PK saves, what helps you like mentally. Yeah, it was like how you said, like maybe one of my best games I played.
Yeah.
So, and it was crazy actually. And then yeah, what you can do with experience and like communication with your guys. And I realized it's on the end. You realize it's like it's tough to keep that level up.
Yeah, you come to the realization, but again, at that point, you've serviced the club for 22 years. You had a incredible career, and I think the first time you got hired at LAFC, I typed your name into YouTube, and one of the first videos that came up, I think maybe Bundesliga or Frankfurt posted it, and it's you with an earpiece on the field with a microphone in your hand, and the entire crowd singing your name. What was that? Was it the proper send-off that you felt was enough?
I don't know what's the proper send-off, but again, like my career was like up and down. It was like, yeah, they call me a legend there, but it wasn't not always like that. There was times I didn't have a good standing with the fans, but like when I realized when I was older, like my 30s, I realized how I am, like how I play football, how I give interviews, how I stand to the club, how I stand to the fans. I got my status end of my career actually, because I was always supportive, always for if they benched me and I was still there and came back and played well. And people appreciate that. And I guess the last 8 games helped a lot too. And the fans actually want to keep me one more year, and actually I was going to stay one more year, but again, like negotiations and business is tricky too. And then I said like, all right, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like they lied to me, so I had a chance to go to Philly as in the MLS and play like my last year in Philadelphia. And then the MLS was always a dream of me. So I said like, it was way more or less money, but I said like, that's a dream of me. I have to do that. So that was my first experience in MLS.
It's so interesting when you are on the outside looking in. You assume a player who's been there at a club for so long, it's just a straight line. You don't really think too much of the ebbs and flows and all that stuff. You just say, okay, they played a ton of games, but you don't know what the conversations are like with the new coach, the head coach, the assistant coaches. You're a captain now, so maybe there is more is expected of you. So you don't have as much downtime, and that maybe weighs on you. And those are all things that I think, which is why I love doing these kind of these shows and conversations, because you get a little bit more of an insight into that. But I guess I'll ask you 2 more questions, and then I'll let you go because we got to get to the office. But having done all that you did as a player, any regrets?
Yeah. I mean, not really regrets. Like my career, when I look back, sit down, have a margarita or tequila, and it took me a while, but I'm really proud what I achieved. Like, I had a great career. I didn't win trophies, but stayed with one club that long. I'm not regretting anything. I just will work harder, especially in the gym. That's a little bit, I was lazy there, especially when I was younger. I realized late that like physically, like fitness is so important. And I'm not regretting it because we're all human beings, but like make like quick decisions, like emotions.
Don't.
Give your time, talk with your family, talk with your people who surround you, and reflect before you make big decisions, because you can. If I end up in Tenerife, I don't know if I will be here. And actually, Tenerife went then down and down and down. Maybe will be my end of my career, and it's like, it's just not a good decision, not thoughtful decision what I made, and that could be ruin your whole career or life.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, those 2 things.
Okay, last question. I love this part. Is like with your legacy as a player and as a coach now. How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I just want, we have so many good coaches. I just want to help those guys, give them my experience or my knowledge, or also in life. It's not just about football. To bring them to a path, on a good path, they can go through life or through football. The knowledge, they'll have a lot of coaches. But like to bring them in a good mindset, especially as a goalie, it's like the mental stuff is so crucial and important. And to bring them like in a good mental spot, when players remember me like that, oh, he helped me a lot, to be like confident, calm, put mistakes to the side, and realize that mistakes is a part of a game. Don't make quick decisions. If they remember me like that I was helpful in football and in life, I will like that.
Yeah. I'm noticing now where you don't really, I think of the business side, you don't really have these goalkeepers sometimes for too many years. It could be a loan, it could be a 1-year contract, and they're gone. So you're almost saying, like, when you have that time with me, I wanted it to feel like I was inclusive. I put my arm around you, and essentially maybe, having those conversations that as a player you loved from coaches, but also that you were maybe missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, I appreciate it. I know I've said it. Maybe you don't listen to the podcast, but I've said it multiple times. You opened a lot of doors for me last season, and coming in and just supporting me, and saying, hey, like if I'm sending guys down to you, I need to see what you're all about as a coach, and I think that was inclusive from the coaching side of things. I know you do it for the players, but from the coaches. So I have experiences that, from last season, I'll never be able to relive again. But it's just, they were amazing. So thank you so much for opening those doors for me, and hopefully that we can get another repeat this season and keep working together. So that'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. And again, like it's we have no secrets. It's like coaching is an open book, but like I think the human beings, it's more important than to help each other, to form each other, and it's not that just you learn from me, I learned also from you. So it's not like I'm also a little bit selfish there to see you exercise, how you think, and it's like always and give and take. So it's I had a great time too. So I was like always also thankful to have somebody next to me.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll continue it, and I'll let you get to work now. But thank you so much, Oka. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.